Hey, how's it going, guys? Hope everyone's doing all right. And today is the next episode in the Minecraft stream. So, last stream, what we got to was some GUI stuff, and we're going to be continuing along that train of thought because I am still working my way through the OpenGL Super Bible. Yep. Langors, how is it going? I hope you're doing all right. But yeah, basically, I added a little screen just sort of like it, and I had some scene transitioning stuff too. So I'll kind of go over that stuff as well, just because I kind of added that. So now you can actually click play the game. And then this kind of takes us to where we were in the last stream, which was just buttons and stuff. So yeah. Did I post on YouTube? I did not. Thank you for reminding me about that, SE Woods. I will do that very quickly. Let's see. I don't even know what I should say on that. Like, just be like, hey, I'm streaming. You should check it out. But that is a good idea. Okay, let's see. I'm just saying, hey, everybody, I'm live on Twitch right now. And then I will paste the Twitch channel. Okay, cool. Thank you for that reminder, SE Woods. Let's go back to code and stuff too. Yeah, so I hope you guys are all doing all right too. But yeah, basically we had some GUI stuff that we put up, and Cherno usually posts on YouTube. Not that I follow that stream, but it's a good reminder. Okay, yeah. I didn't know he posts on YouTube too, but that is a good idea, and we'll see if we get some more viewers too. But yeah, so GUI stuff, we basically got some basic things up. What I want to do, because right now positioning GUI stuff is pretty manual. I don't like that. So I want to make it so that we can sort of like load input files that just position all the GUI elements that way. And then also Spritesheet files so that we don't have to specifically position all the sprites and stuff too. So I'll talk about some of the changes I made first of all too. Since we now have this sort of the idea of different scenes, right? We want to initialize different things for each scene, free different stuff. I've had to add in a few different things to handle that. So basically now we have the concept of a scene that we update instead of just updating the world, which is a little bit different. And then we initialize the scene here, and I initialize it with the scene type of the main menu. In the registry just sort of gets passed around from scene to scene, so that never really gets freed until the scene frees, I believe. So basically the registry and all the physics and all that stuff is sort of global, and then the scene just sort of manages which one we're using, and we sort of reset each of the subsystems when we change a scene. So basically we initialize the scene, which if we go into here, you can see that just sets up the registry. One of the things I got to figure out is where the camera should go. Right now I have it in the scene because like camera is pretty integral to like different scenes, but I'm not sure where it should go. So I've had some trouble with that. I'm not sure if it should be an entity or if it should actually be part of the scene or whatever, but we'll figure that out. And how's it going, Vox Riffs? Hope you're doing all right. But basically we get this, and then I set up the camera because I'm just doing in the scene for now, so each one can have it. I tell the renderer that we have that. I also set the projection matrix for the input so that we can get different input types. And then we hit this thing called change scene, which basically doesn't do anything, just in case like we're doing stuff in the middle of a frame. We don't want to disrupt everything and just sort of like discard all our entities and stuff. So I basically just set a flag that says change the scene at the next frame, and then we set the next scene's type. And then inside of our update loop, we basically just say update the appropriate scene. So if we're doing the world, update the world. If we're doing the main menu, update the main menu. And then we render everything. And then if at the end we see that we need to change the scene, we basically reset that flag and then we actually change it. So we free everything and then we switch the scene and then we completely switch. And this free function basically just, frees the world, frees the main menu. So we free all our assets and everything. And that should be good. Yeah. And you're doing great parsing C. I've had experience parsing C++, and I have a feeling C is going to be pretty difficult too. So have fun. Because I noticed you posted in the Discord, there's like weird pointer syntax and stuff that you get in C and C++. Like you can have const char star, and I've seen some people even do it like const star char star for like a double array, or maybe not that way. It was like char star const star array of strings. And that's the weirdest way I've ever seen it, but I guess that's valid C syntax as well. So you have all sorts of weird things like this that you can do. And then I guess you could even do like char star star, because it's like a triple array of strings. So yeah, char star const star, yeah. So that stuff is like just confusing and very hard to parse correctly. So let me know if you get it figured out, because it's hard to do with like without using recursive functions and then overloading your stack too, which is some problems I was having. But yeah. And SC Woods, when will you drop first episode of the Minecraft tutorial series? So I think like mid to late November or early December. I want to have the Minecraft game pretty close to done right here. I'm still working on reading through the OpenGL book, which is huge. I'm on like page 300 out of like 800, but it's really good, and I just want to get an idea of all the techniques I have available to me before I actually go and improve the rendering here. But I'm pretty sure I know what I need to do. So I want to do that, and then basically get Minecraft so that we can add and delete blocks so that we have an actual GUI. We can save games, which is sort of what we're going to be working on today. And basically you can like destroy blocks and stuff, and better biome generation too. Yeah. So that's sort of what I want to get to by this point. I have this whole week off and this day. So that'll give me a lot of time to just focus solely on this, which will hopefully speed up that development. And then I plan on sort of working on the first tutorial series during this month, and then hopefully releasing it around this time frame. So yeah, hopefully we can get there. And how's it going, Lion Cat, aka Kitty Cat, I'm pretty sure. And you're not parsing C directly, just want to improve its syntax and transpile it to C. Basically, based on the C+ discussion. Oh, okay. That'll be cool. I would be happy with C+. And for people not familiar with C++, would it be possible to follow the series? Say if we go through the C++ series first. Yeah, I want to do it in like a language agnostic kind of way too. So I want it to be at a point where basically if you just watch the tutorial series, you can implement it in any language that supports like LWJGL or like OpenGL and GLFW and all that stuff. So hopefully it will be good enough to the point where you can like follow it with whatever you're doing. I think it'll probably lean towards C++ constructs a little bit more since I am doing it in C++, but that is the plan. So yeah. Okay, but anyways, we've got this scene rendering thing. When we free stuff, like if we look at what the world does, it frees all of its chunks, which is good. One other thing that I should probably do when I free stuff is like clear out the registry, which I don't have right now, but that's something I'll have to add. And then if we look at the main menu, so this is sort of what I want to clean up today, because it's really a pain to set all this stuff up, and I want to make this easier. So basically we have a texture, which is the menu textures. We have a textured button, which is the button. And then a renderable texture, which is the title. And yeah, I really don't like having this renderable texture. This is another thing. I kind of want to remove this and replace it with Sprite, which I have inside of here. Yeah, so everything is going to be a Sprite instead of this renderable texture, which will probably be good. Yeah. Okay, so we'll probably replace that too and stuff. But anyways, it's still pretty complicated. So basically, I get the menu textures. I sort of set everything up, and then I get the sprites, and I have to set these up manually. This is sort of what I want to change. So I have the pixel positions, but I have to sort of set up where the UV coordinates are myself, and then the UV start, and I do that for every single different sprite. And then for the title, I have to do sort of the same thing. And then I set up all the buttons and everything manually. And finally, we're done. And then when I render, it's pretty easy. But then we have another problem, which is laying out all the menu elements. I'm positioning them manually, and I have to do that as well, which is kind of annoying. So I kind of want to set this all up so that it's just loaded in from a file. And then all I have to do is basically say if button, and then I can just say like play button or whatever, which is loaded from a file. So that is the plan. And hopefully that's what we'll get to by the end of today. And I want to do input boxes too. So we'll have to check that out. And SE Woods, I've gone through a lot of box 2D like code, so reading C++ is not scary, but writing it, however, yeah. So, and also the game physics cookbook is in C++. Yeah, that's true too. So a lot of them are in C++, and it is hard when you're first learning it, but I actually do prefer it now just because it gives you a lot of constructs that you don't have in Java, which is kind of nice. So yeah. Anyways, so the first thing I want to do is open up my file explorer because that's important, and I'll turn on my mouse capture thing so that you guys can see that. There we go. Okay. So if we go into our folder with the Minecraft clone, yep, this one, and we go into assets, we've got sort of all these different things. So we've got block format, fonts, images, shaders. Maybe we should change this block format. I'm thinking kind of out loud. I don't like having this called block format because it's sort of going to be for everything. So we'll call this something like just custom. I don't even know. Like just UI stuff. No, that doesn't make sense. Yeah, we'll call this custom for now, and then I'll have to fix that later. Let me just fix the world too, because I'm going to have to change that file path just so that that works. So instead of this, we're going to say custom. And same thing here and here, and I think we should be good. Just want to make sure I did not break anything. So let's run this again real quickly, and then we're gonna put all of our files in there and sort of go from there. CGO clan, how's it going? Thanks, got the game working with the latest README instructions. Oh, cool. I've been trying to chat in here, but forgot to log in. Cool, I'm glad you got the game working and stuff too. I was trying to make it pretty easy to build, but sometimes it can, you know, different things can happen. So it's not in exactly a stable state right now too, as you can see. We still have a lot of things, or I still have a lot of things I need to fix up and everything, but I'm working towards getting it in a more stable state and everything. So yeah, cool. So that's all working good still. So if we go back into here, I'm going to add a new file in here, and we're going to call this like sprites.yaml. I guess, well, I'll call this menu sprites, menu spritesheet.yaml. And this will be sort of how we're going to set up the sprite sheets just so that we can order them easily. Okay, so then if we go into, let's see, I don't know, because I feel like I should actually have that inside with the images. Yeah, I'm going to keep it in here instead. So we'll put this, and we'll call this menu sprites or spritesheet.yaml, just so that you can sort of add the sprite sheet. And let's open this with VS Code. So we got that. Cool. And it's empty. So the way I want this to work is basically we have a sprite sheet. We just want to be able to define different sprites inside of here. So this sprite sheet, what does it look like? Well, it's just a few different buttons right now. Yeah, so like you can see, we've got this button state, and Crumble is like a work in progress name. So I'll change that eventually to something else. But anyways, we've got like the button, hover, click, title, and those are the sprites we have in here. So what I want to be able to do is something like button regular, and then we can say like UV start, and then X is like in pixels 512, Y is whatever. I don't think that's right. I think it's actually, it's 00, but yeah. Anyways, we do that. Then we say like UV end, X some number, Y is some other number, and then that should be good. Or actually, I guess I could call this UV size too, and that will be like in pixels too. So that will just be the size, which makes a little bit more sense. And that should be all we need to get this out of the sprite sheet though. And then we can just index this by saying get me button regular sprite from the sprite sheet, and we should be good. And then we can also do button hover, and it's the same thing, UV start. We have an X, and we're gonna fill this out with actual values just so that I can test this. And so we'll see how this works. Okay, so we got that, and then let's also have button click, which is this one, and then we will also have title. Okay, so this will be title. Okay, cool. So this is sort of how I want it to be, and you will input all this stuff manually. Maybe eventually I'll make like an in-game editor so that you can just kind of like select different sprites and then it all sets it up automatically. This would support that, so that's a good thing. But for now, we just doing manual stuff. And just checking. I see something called redeemed highlight my message. So I'm not sure what that is. I have way too many channel points. Oh, okay, Voxelriffs, you highlighted your message. Okay. 5816. Oh, okay, never mind. Okay, so CGL Clan, I have a doubt, like I don't know any OpenGL stuff right now, but why can't developers keep a starting position and then calculate how much the slider white bar thingy moved in the x-axis and then based on that set the value of the slider? That is kind of what I'm doing. So I've built an abstraction over OpenGL to make it easier like that. So if, like I actually go into the GUI stuff, when you look at the slider, basically, yeah, I've just got the slider's position on the screen, the slider size, whoops, and then also the button's position and the button screen, so like the actual button that you grab, and then I just sort of normalize that value based on where the slider is on the screen and stuff. So I am kind of doing that, but yeah. And did I ever create a menu in the Mario series? I don't think I did. I kind of just left it at the end because going and creating a menu and everything means you typically have to do font rendering, and I still haven't come up with a menu system that I really like. And we had IMGUI in there too, so I was like, you can kind of use IMGUI for that, just not an in-game menu. So we'll see if I can find a menu system that I actually like in this series, starting with this. So we'll see how this goes. Okay, so anyways, this is going to be our sprite sheet format. So we basically just loop through a bunch of different sprites. Yep. Okay, cool. And then we can sort of index directly by these things. So let's go see how we're loading some other stuff, like the textures. So basically, I think I have something in here. Yeah. Okay, cool. So basically, we just get the YAML. We can index directly just sort of by doing stuff like this. I don't know why I'm doing this actually, because this isn't doing anything. So I think I can remove that. Let me just make sure I didn't break anything by doing that, but that did not look necessary. Okay, yeah, so it's still fine. Okay, so then we go for location, ref, location, and texture look. Okay, then we get the YAML. Oh, this is when we're writing the YAML. What about when we're reading the YAML, which is what I'm looking for? I think that's in here, but I could be wrong. No, this is just packing textures. Okay. I know I have something else in here that should be loading it, and I probably called it something stupid. I don't think it's in YAML extended to, so wait a second, let's see. Yeah, I have no idea where I put that code. Here, let me go into world real quickly. And, okay, so I just called pack textures. Okay, yeah, okay, block map, load blocks, that's where it is. Okay, so this is how we read stuff in. Cool, so this is what I kind of want to focus on. So, okay, we can basically just check and see if something exists, and then we can go through and load stuff, which is good. Okay, cool. So I'm going to make a generic sprite sheet load thing. And we're going to put this inside of utils. I'm going to put this in utils. I think that makes sense. Okay, so we're going to put this inside of here. We'll have like a sprite sheet loader. And then we'll call this namespace Minecraft and namespace sprite sheet loader. And Voxler's font rendering is simple with STB TrueType. It's like 10 lines of code to create texture and generate the structs that hold UVs for each glyph. Yeah, I remember going through TrueType's code though, STB TrueType's code. And there was like something he had written in there where he was basically not confident in his own code. And I was like, okay, should I really be using this now? And that's when I switched to using free, what's it called? Free type. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, and so I've just been using that library instead, which is also pretty simple and I guess more robust. Yeah, but I can't even remember. I can't find the piece of code that I read about that, but I do recall being like, oh, he's not confident in his own code. I probably don't want to be using his code. So yeah, hash if not defined Minecraft. Spritesheet loader H, that, and then we'll do that. Generally speaking, it's okay to rotate a 2D camera. This also rotates the coordinate system, or is there better ways of rotating a scene without messing with the coordinate system, if anyone knows? I think it's generally okay to rotate the 2D camera. I feel like that would probably be the easiest way. Yeah. Okay, and then inside of this Spritesheet loader, we're basically going to have something that loads sprite sheets. I don't want to have this in its own file is what I'm thinking, because that just feels overkill for this thing. But yeah, I guess that's the way it's going to be. Unless I make something like sprites, which might make more sense. Yeah, so instead I'm actually going to do this. Let's just go ahead and create a file, and we're going to call this like sprites or something. Sprites, and actually not in GUI, but in render. Okay, this makes a lot more sense. Okay, so we'll call this sprites.h. And then I'll just kind of offload all this into here. Delete that file, because I feel like this makes a lot more sense. And I'll be able to find it later. And then we'll just change this to that. Okay, cool. So we're going to call this sprites, and then we'll have like a load sprite sheet, and I want to move this into here. So first order of business is I need to consolidate some stuff, because I have kind of duplicate structures that are very similar, which we don't need. Let's copy those too. So we'll do that. And we also want to include core. Okay, so I have some duplicate things. So I've got this sprite thing, which is very similar to, okay, and then we're going to have problems with this too. So the best thing I can do is probably just include sprites here. I'll have to come up with a different method some other time, but for now, we will just do this. Okay. That should be fine. Cool. So if we go into like renderer.h, I think it is. Yeah, we have this renderable texture, which is basically the same thing. So this has a texture, a start and a size, which is like the position of it. And then it has UV start, UV size. Yes. Okay. I want to replace this. So we're going to get rid of this. And then instead of doing that, we're going to have a sprite. So I'm also going to have to do render/sprites. And I'm going to have to find out a way to not have to include that at some point. Actually, I can just forward declare that. Never mind. Okay. So I have like a struct sprite. And then right here, we'll have like sprite ref. This will be the sprite, and then we'll also have a const glm vec2 ref position and const glm vec2 ref size. Okay, cool. And this will sort of mimic the way I'm doing other things. So then we'll copy this and we'll fix that in the render very quickly. Also, I need to fix this. So right now, the way I generate fonts is they're kind of flipped upside down. So I just flip things here, which is not good. So I have to fix that in the future. But yeah, for now it's fine. We'll worry about that later. And then I'll be mad at myself that I didn't finish that later or earlier. Okay, so then anyways, for V0, we'll have this as position. Instead, this is going to be position plus size. This is going to be position. This is going to be size. Size. Okay, and then for these ones, we're going to be doing sprite dot UV start. Yeah, okay. So these are all going to be UV start. And then this is going to be sprite dot UV size. And same thing here. And same thing here. Okay, and I also need to include sprite here real quickly. So we'll go ahead and say include render/sprites. Okay. And then going back down to there, I think that should be good. Okay, so then we have to fix this too. This is just going to be sprite.texture now. Sprite.texture and sprite.texture and sprite.texture. And somehow I messed up style. Oh, let's change that to style. Okay, cool. So now we are good. That should be fine. I'm going to run this. We're going to have some compiler errors so that I can fix those where I was calling that. That's all good. And you've seen other people using STP true type to this day with nothing going wrong, so not sure where you found that specific line. Yeah, yeah, I'll have to find it again and see if I can pull that up, because I remember distinctly, but I might be remembering wrong too. But anyways, yeah. And cool, thank you, Campaw, for following. And CGO Clan, does anyone watch Hazel devlogs? I have not. I thought it was just a simple engine with some physics and stuff, but when download and see the engine itself, it will become a whole engine. Yeah, Cherno is going pretty insane with Hazel engine, so it's looking pretty cool. And the point, yes, to be something like Unity. Yep. And as you would, Gabe, what plans did you have for live streams the coming weeks? Was it this week you were streaming several times? Yeah, so I was planning on doing it this week, but it looks like I'm actually going to be working this week too. So this week, last week of October. So hopefully be streaming most days in the 25th through the 29th at around this time. So if you guys are available, you should check me out then. Hopefully. We shall see. Okay, and let's go back to here. So now we're going to have some problems here. That's fine. I'm going to call this a sprite now. And we can say, so this is going to be, well, actually, we don't even have to really do this because this is, we already sort of have that inside of the textured button, I think. Oh, wait, this might have to, yeah, okay, we should be good there. Okay, anyway, so we've got that sprite, and then we've got all this stuff. Okay, so then this is where I want to change stuff. So then instead of doing this, we'll say sprite dot that stuff. This is going to be UV start and UV size. Okay, cool. Oh, wait, actually, we have the sprite right here. Okay, cool. So we can just use that. So I can get rid of this completely. And I think we should be good. Well, I guess maybe I want to do, okay, so this is inside of a different function call, clearly. So basically what I'm doing is just trying to refactor this to use that code that I had just changed. So we'll have a sprite here. This is the sprite that I want to use. And I'll do like a sprite ref. No, we can't really do that, can we? We'll just do a sprite pointer. And we'll have this equal to null pointer for now. And then once we find out what state we're in, we'll set it to the address of whichever sprite we're using. So right here, this is going to be sprite equals the address of button dot click sprite, right? And we'll make this a const pointer so that we don't get an error there. Okay, and then right here, we'll just say sprite equals the address of the hover sprite. So this would be button dot hover sprite. And then here, we just do sprite equals the address of the button sprite. Okay, cool. And then when we're rendering, we don't use this anymore. Instead, we use the button, or actually just the sprite. And then we need the position, which is going to be like the button's position and button's size. And everything else is the same. Okay, cool. So that fixes that. And then we'll have to check the other stuff too. So we're good there now. It looks like we have some other errors, which is right here. Oh, do I have to include it? No, I just have to change this up now too. Okay, so now the title is going to be a sprite instead of a renderable texture, which just makes more sense. But that also means, well, okay, we'll see. Because I need to embed the position and stuff in there too. So, okay, what I'll do is I'll just have like a few other variables here. We'll say static glm vec2 title position, static glm vec2 title size. And we're going to fix this stuff too so that we don't have these embedded in the code itself, because that's not very good. So title size equals that, title position equals that, title dot UV start, and whoops, I guess that was UV size. UV size, and then title dot UV start, which is that. Okay, cool. So that's all good now. And then this is going to be title, and then we need the position. So just title position and title size. Okay, cool. And I think we're finally good now. So that should be refactored. We've gotten rid of that duplicate structure, which is good. And CGO Clan, wait, do you have 2 GitHub accounts? I do. Probably not the best thing, and it annoys me sometimes because I'll be working on one GitHub account and then forget that I'm using the other one. But yeah, so if you're looking through those two, that's sort of all my stuff. But yeah. And SE Woods, I stumbled over the second YouTube channel as well. Okay, yeah. That is for all the past streams. So if you ever want to catch up or you missed one or whatever, you can check them out there, which is good. Okay, so this now we are doing the sprite. We have to say sprite and then position, which I'm guessing is this X adjusted Y. So this is position, which we'll do here. And then we also need size, which I'm guessing is this thing. So we'll do that here. And then, and let's also just kind of make this a little bit easier to read. Do that and that. Okay, and then this is the sprite itself, which is just the texture, and then text chord start, text chord size. Yes. Okay, I think that's all we need. And const Minecraft texture pointer cannot be used to initialize type Minecraft texture pointer. How was I doing this before is what I'm wondering now. Okay, so this takes in a const font ref. And then this is taking the font's texture, which is, let me see what that is real quick. Oh, cool. Thank you, SatTrack75, for following. Okay, so inside of here, where's the font pointer? Oh, wait, no. Okay, so we have a texture in here, and that texture is just a structure. And it doesn't like this. What I want to do is I just want to do texture pointer. Or I guess I would do that there. Yeah, but that's not really good. I'm kind of casting away the constness of that. Wait, okay, actually I can fix this. Wait, no, okay, this is a const sprite ref. So, yeah, Okay, I know it's not going to be changed in here, so this is kind of bad because we're casting away the constness here, but since it's not going to be changed in this function, I'm kind of like, I don't care too much, so we'll just leave it as that, and we'll move on for now. Okay. Okay, cool. So it looks like we are still working. Let me check and see if everything else is working good too. Did I create the Discord logo? No. I can't remember who did, but it was some people in our Discord. We held a competition like a very long time ago, and we had a few people who created that. So yeah. By the way, what is Crumble? Temporary title. So it's a Minecraft clone for now, but eventually I want to make it my own game, and the plan is to have a very tall world like Terraria. So yeah, that's in the future though. For now, we just have to get a Minecraft clone up and running. Okay, so that's all good though. Now we have this idea of a sprite instead of what we had before, which is nice. Okay, so then I'm going to remove that. And now we want to be able to load sprite sheets, which is just going to load a bunch of sprites that we can then reference by name or by index. And not quite sure how I want to do that, but I think I'm probably going to do it by name for now, and then we can fix that later on if we want to. Okay, anyway, so I had that somewhere, which was in like sprites.h. Yep. Okay, cool. So then this is going to have a function which basically returns a reference to a vector of sprites. Yes. Okay. So basically what I'm going to do is like have stood vector of sprite ref const get sprite sheet. And what will this take in? I guess this will just take in a file path. Okay, so this basically takes in the file path, and then we also have a load sprite sheet. Or actually, I guess I could have this load it too on the first use. Yeah, that's probably what I'll do. Okay, so we'll roll with this for now, and then if I need to change it, I will change it later. So if we go into here, sprites.cpp, paste all of that. So copy that, paste it. And we'll say include render sprites. Okay. And then we've got this thing, and we can remove this stuff. We need to include texture and font. So let's do render texture and render font. Okay. Although I don't think I'm using font. Yeah, it doesn't look like I am. So remove that real quick, and then we should be good. Okay, cool. So this is going to load the sprite sheet if needed, and then it's going to cache it so that we have it for future use. So we're going to have a static stood unordered map from a const char star. I'm actually going to have to do a stood string because C++ doesn't like that when you're using maps. To a sprite sheet, maybe? No, a sprite. Or no, a stood vector of sprites. I guess that makes sense. Huh, wait a second. I got to think of how I want to do this. Yeah, okay, actually that might work. Yeah, so we'll just have a string to a sprite. And then I guess what would make sense is if this was an unordered map from a string to that, which is like our files. I don't really like doing this though, because I don't like having structures of structures, but I think this should be fine. So basically this is gonna be like file path indexes to another map, which is the sprite name to the sprite itself. So yep. And I guess I can change that here as well. So instead of returning this, we'll return a const stood unordered map from a string to a sprite. Okay, cool. And we'll copy that and paste it here. Okay, now we're good. And then this will basically just return this if it's there, otherwise it'll load it. I gotta check this out too. Uh-oh, looks like we had a spammer. Yep, okay. Thank you for banning them and handling that, Langors. Oh, okay, it was advertisement and stuff too. Okay, cool. Thank you. So if we do this stuff, this is internal variables, and then we'll have internal functions, and then we'll have a static void load const char star file path, and that will load a sprite sheet if we don't have it. So we do that, and then auto iter equals stood find. No, I think I can do sprite sheets dot find. Yeah, okay, cool. So we find the file path, which we'll just do this. Okay, so then if this equals the end of the map, we didn't find it, so we must load it. So then we can just say load whatever that file path is. So basically if our map does not contain the file, we load the file, and then we're gonna just do this again, which should reset it manually. And then if it still equals the end, then something has gone wrong. So we'll do this, and then I guess we could just assert here. So g logger assert iter does not equal sprite sheets dot end error loading sprite sheet. Okay, cool. So now we have that, and then we can just say return that. Okay. So this basically goes through, looks for the sprite sheet. If we don't have it, it loads it, and then it checks to see if we now have it. If we don't, then it says we failed. So we should be good there. Cool. Okay, so if we're loading the sprite sheet, how do we want to do this? Well, it's just a YAML file with all of this stuff. So we basically just have a list. Each of these has a UV start and a UV size. And that's how we'll do this. So if I go back into one of these things, I think it was block format. So let's close this out because we don't need this right now. Block format.cpp. I guess we'll just go into here. And then this will be block map.cpp. Okay. So I just need a reference of how we do this again, because I always forget. Okay, so we basically do all this stuff. Let me just copy this all, and then I'll sort of take what I need and remove the stuff I don't need. Okay. So we say this is our Spritesheet read file path, and we need to include YAML extended. So we'll do utils YAML extended. Whoops, that's good. Okay, cool. So we basically read the Spritesheet, and then we're going to go ahead and construct a new dictionary or unordered map. I've been in C# too much. So we'll have an unordered map from a string to a sprite, and this will be our Spritesheet. This will be our Spritesheet file or config, I guess. And then we have the Spritesheet, which that should initialize it, I believe. I can do that just to make sure it does get initialized. Okay, and then we can basically go ahead and use our Spritesheet config. So we can say if, or actually we just iterate through it. So yeah, so I think we can just say for auto whatever inside of whatever. Okay, so we can say for auto sprite config in Spritesheet config. And I believe this should just iterate through each of these. So we'd get like button regular, button hover, button click. So as we're iterating through that, we can then see if we have, okay, yeah. So then we just use that second to index into it. So we would say like second, okay, cool. And then we would say UV start. Okay. So I'll do an if statement here just to make sure we have it. So we'll say if that, and we'll do and sprite config dot second UV size. So if we have both of them, then we'll add it to our dictionary. And then we can do this to get that stuff. So we'll say UV start YAML equals sprite config dot second UV start. Okay, and then I'll duplicate that. This is the UV size. And we'll do that. Okay. And then we can just say we're creating a sprite here. So we'll say sprite. And we'll assign it in here. We'll say sprite dot UV start equals readvec this thing. Oh wait, no, I can just do this UV start, and we can just use the sprite config. Okay, cool. So I'll just do that. Believe that should be fine. We'll find out in a minute. Okay, and then sprite.uv size, and we'll do UV size and that, and we should be good. And then we also want to do sprite.texture. Oh, and that's something else I forgot too. We need to have a texture in here too, because it's a Spritesheet. So we'll have a reserved word, which is just texture, and that will be the file path, I guess. So in this case, it will be like assets slash images slash menu sprites.png. Okay, so that's sort of file path. Okay, cool. So texture file path is how we get that stuff. Let me check chat real quickly. I have that stored on, oh yeah, that stored on the wall behind me. New? Or has it always been there? It is kind of new. So my brothers got me for my birthday. I don't know if you guys have heard of Displate, but they're basically like, I'll pull it up, because they have really cool stuff. And they got me one for my birthday, and I really liked it. So then I went ahead and got a couple more to fill it in. But it's basically like these metal posters. Yeah. So like these metal posters that you can get. And so I've got a Mario one, and then I don't need 19% off. And then a Portal one, which is the one my brothers got me, and then the Minecraft one. So it's pretty cool. They're expensive, which is why I only got 3, but they are really cool. And if you guys are into that type of stuff, you should definitely get it. But yeah. And CG Oakland, I wish everyone who uses Asprite a very good day. Oh, cool. I use Asprite, so that is good to hear. And oh, I've heard of that. Pretty cool. Yeah, they are nice. I would definitely recommend, but they're kind of expensive, which is a bummer. So I would probably get more if they weren't so expensive, but they're cool. But yeah. Okay, so we've got the sprite in here too. We're almost there. We need the texture, which I just added, which was texture file path. So we should be able to say if Spritesheet config texture, if, I guess then we could say like YAML node texture YAML equals Spritesheet config texture. Okay, no, come on. There we go. And I guess this is going to be like a const ref, just that we're not copying that data because I have no idea how big that stuff is. And then we'll just say if texture YAML, and then what is it? File path is what I called it. Then we can get the file path, which is going to be null here. File path equals null pointer. I might actually have to do a std string here because I think they're probably going to use a string. Oh, wait, I have the file path here, but this is the file path. Okay, wait. Okay, so this is the texture file path. Okay, got to make sure that I am clear on what I'm doing. And actually, let's not initialize that there. We'll just say if this, we'll say texture file path equals texture YAML file path dot second, or as std string. Okay, and I think we should be good there. Cool. And then what we can do is, I'm just gonna have a bool here. Has file path equals false, and we'll set it to true once we find it. And then we'll say assert that has file path. If not, then we'll just say to load a sprite sheet, you must add a texture and file path. Okay, cool. And then we'll print out the sprite sheet that failed. Cool, or the configuration that failed, I guess. So that should be good. So we can load the file path and we have that sort of stored up here. So then when we do sprite.texture, we can say it equals whatever that file path is. So we need to set that up too. In Kubusis, I hope I said that right. I probably said that horribly wrong, but thank you for following. And you like the poster too? Yeah, I know, it's pretty cool. And sorry for caps, it's good. So once we get to this point, we can actually load the texture, which will probably be good. So we should say texture equals, and now I gotta load the texture, which I'm gonna look into here for how I was doing that, because that's probably the best way to do this. Yeah, so we're just gonna sort of do this thing. So we'll say texture sprite sheet texture equals that. So we basically do the texture builder, and then right here we're going to use whatever file path they gave us. So texture file path dot cstring, which I believe is what we need. Yes. Okay, cool. So we're going to set the mag filter and min filter to nearest, which is what I want. It's a 2D texture, no wrap, and then we generate it. So this will load it from that file that we passed in. Because, yeah, we have generate from file path set to true. So that should set that up appropriately. The one thing I want to make sure, though, is that this stays in memory. So let's do this. Okay, so in order to do this, we're going to have like a struct sprite sheet. And this will have a texture, and a std unordered map of string to sprite. Sprites. Cool. Okay, so this is going to be better for this too now. So we'll basically have this be a sprite sheet. And now we actually have sort of a wrapper around that. Okay, I like this. And then this will return second dot sprites, and we're good there. Okay, and then basically this will just be the sprite sheet that we're creating. So instead of doing this, we can say sprite sheet, and we'll initialize that there. And then this will be sprite sheet dot texture right here. So we'll say sprite sheet dot texture equals that. Okay, cool. So now we're going to have this texture sort of loaded into this structure, which is going to be inside of our cache, which is just an unordered map. Okay, so that's all good. We should be cool there now. Why is this not happy? Texture format. What's it saying? Oh, this is the code that I had there. Okay, I think I can remove this now. This was just for reference. So we're good there now. Okay, so then we load all this and we can say sprite.texture, which is just a pointer, is the address of our texture. Okay, cool. So we have our sprite constructed. I don't think we have anything else. Yep, just those 3 fields. And then we want to put this into our map since we have it. So we will put it inside of the map of our Spritesheet. Okay, so then we say Spritesheet dot sprites, and we want to find out what the sprite's name is, which we'll figure out in a minute, equals that sprite. Okay, cool. And then this sprite's name, how do we get that sprite's name? Which I think I had inside of here. Yeah. Okay, so I did actually need this still. Okay. So it looks like we can get the name. Well, let's see. Okay, block.first. Cool. So we can get the name just by getting the first element in the YAML node, which in this case is the sprite config. Okay, so we can say sprite config.first.as stood string. Cool. And that will set that up appropriately. And we'll say else g logger warning unable to load sprite %s, and then we'll kind of write it there. And we'll say missing UV start and UV size. And we'll do that. And I think I probably want to set up this, instead of it being an assertion, just a warning, because we probably don't want to crash if we miss that stuff. Okay, so then this will just be sprite config dot first dot as stood string dot c string. Okay, so let's change this real quickly to if not has file path, then we'll just log a warning, because I don't want to crash and we failed to load a Spritesheet, which is pretty common. Okay, glog. No, which one? Logger warning. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Yeah, glogger warning. Okay, we should be good there. Oh, I misspelled that. Okay, cool. So we log a warning if we fail for whatever reason, and then we basically just load on demand. What's wrong with this? Oh, we can remove that. We log warnings if we fail in any parts of this, or if we fail to load any specific sprite. We also want to make sure that we skip the texture. So if sprite config.first.as stood string, I guess I should probably cache that because I use a lot. So we'll say const stood string sprite name equals sprite config.first.as stood string. Okay, and then we'll change all of these. So this will just be sprite name. This will just be sprite name. And then we'll say if sprite name equals texture, return. Or just continue, not return. And I probably want to do that in like an else if, which is right here, just so that we're not doing that every single time. So we will copy this here. And then we'll just go here, and then we'll just say continue. Okay, cool. So that way we're not doing a string compare like every single time we mess something up. So we should be good here. Cool. So that should load the Spritesheet. Let's test it out now, I guess. So let's copy that. Let's go into main menu, and this is where our first test will be, I guess. So we'll have that. Menu sprites equals, and then we'll just say sprites get Spritesheet, and this is inside assets slash, where did I put that? Slash images slash menu sprite.yaml. So slash images slash menu Spritesheet.yaml. Cool. Okay, so we'll test this out in just a minute too. And can anyone tell me what I am using YAML file for? So I'm using the YAML file as a Spritesheet. And this log is not accurate. Missing UV start or UV size. Oh yeah, that's true too. Thank you. So let's fix that up real quickly. Lost that real quickly. Okay, missing, yeah, UV or UV size. Yeah, that's a good catch. Thank you. And yeah, the YAML file is basically just gonna be like so that we can load in Spritesheets. So we can basically specify where on an image like this, these sprites are located. That way I don't have to do it in the code manually, which is what I'm doing right now inside of here. So I'm just sort of manually setting all this stuff up, which is annoying. And we want that to be able to be loaded at runtime. And that way people can change it up if they ever want to as well. So always better to load stuff as a configuration to a certain extent. You never want to go too far with configuration stuff because then you get into like some bad stuff. So yeah. Okay, anyways, so we've got the menu sprites. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say for auto ref str in menu sprites, g logger info loaded, and then we're just going to do %s str dot first dot c string, just to make sure that we actually loaded everything. And I'll put a breakpoint here. So let's see if this works. We should see all the stuff I have here. So like button regular, button hover, all that stuff pop up if this worked correctly. And it did not. We have an exception, which was inside of here. Okay, yeah, so I had a feeling I might have been breaking this part. So this read vec2, what does it do? So it goes node name 0.asFloat, 1 as float. Oh, okay, so basically instead of doing this, I think I can do, let me check out one of my other YAML files real quickly because I can't remember how YAML works. So inside of here, okay, I guess we just do 0, 1, 2 instead. Or do we just do this, the dashes? I think we just do the dashes. So this would be that. I don't like that much though, so I might change that up in the future because then it's not clear at all. Yeah, I really don't like that. Let me make sure that's not what I'm doing real quickly. Let's just check this one out real quickly too. Yeah, I think that's what I'm doing. I don't like that because it's not clear what's happening there. So this is a generated file, so that's fine. We can change that pretty easily. So what I'm going to do real quickly is just for write vec2, instead of just doing pushback, we'll say name x equals that. Okay, and then we'll do the same thing here. Name y equals that. So we're good there. And then this, we'll just return name x, name y. Okay. And then I'm going to have to regenerate this file. So let's just delete. Was that the right one? I don't want to delete the wrong one. No, delete texture format. Okay, good thing I checked. Okay, so we'll delete that. It's in source control anyway, so it wouldn't be a big deal. So we should regenerate that file and it should look better now, and then we shouldn't have any problems. Nope, we're having problems. This is coming from here now, which is coming from sprites load. Okay. So yeah, it looks like we're still having problems here. So Sprite Config. What does this look like? Okay, so we're looking at second. Oh, I should probably be using spriteconfig.second. Yeah, .second UV start. Okay, that's what I should probably be doing here. So instead of this, we should be doing that. And I believe that should be good. Maybe? No. Okay. Oh, no, wait. Okay, that's fine. It's this part. So we should be saying second there. Okay. Now we should be good. Okay. Third time, fourth time is a charm, right? Nope, we're still broken, but at least we got it in assertion. Error loading Spritesheet assets / images / menu sprites. So it doesn't tell us what went wrong, just something went wrong. I should probably say what's happening here. So this is, oh, so it never, oh, I never put it into the unordered map. Okay, so we loaded it fine. I just forgot to, after we finish everything, we need to say, we have our sprite sheet there that we've just created. And I need to put it into our sprite sheet. So then I just need to say sprite sheets, std string, and then the file path equals sprite sheet. And the file path we have right there. So we should be able to do that. And now I believe we should be good. Sweet. Okay, cool. So that worked out. Did we log all that stuff? Loaded button regular, button click, button hover, title. Awesome. And if we look in here, button regular, hover, click, title, that's all good. And if we look, so then if we continue this real quickly too, I just want to make sure we write the correct file. So let's go back into here. So if we hit play game, now we should generate a new file in here, which is like the block textures. Let's see. Yeah, so it just loaded that. And then if we look in there, it should be good. So everything's still working properly. And this now does XY. Okay, cool. Yes, and I like that a lot better because that's a lot more readable. Sweet. So we are good there now. And we're good there too. Does anyone have experience when you are downloading a 7 GB file and you just sit there waiting for it to finish and start thinking about your life decisions? Yeah, it happens to me sometimes too. I feel your pain. I grew up on like a really old computer. It was like, I remember the brand name. Let's see, it was E-Machines. And this was just, yeah, a really old computer. Let's see if they still sell them. Oh no, see, look at this. This is the website. They stopped working on it 2016. But like, it was just a really old desktop PC that was disgusting and very slow. So I feel your pain. Yeah, like check these things out. So, yep. Am I going to add caves? I will add caves. That's when we get to like more terrain generation stuff though. So I've got to wait on that. And that website did look sus, but it's just because they probably didn't update it since like 1990. But yeah, I've been reading up on caves and stuff actually. Do I have it here? No, I don't have it here, but I've been watching some like GDC things and stuff on different terrain generation things. So we will be doing that, just not yet. We're getting pretty close with this though, which I'm happy with. So let's go ahead and finish this, which we should be pretty close now. So then if I go, so we've got the sprite for the title. We also need the button sprite. Okay, yeah, cool. So instead of doing this now, so this is at, the size is 272. And the height is what? Oh, 32. Okay, so for the regular button, I've got to actually change this now. This should be 272, 32. And I believe that's the same on all of them. Yeah, because then I just sort of use that same thing. Whoops. So 272 for this one as well. 32 there. 272, 32. And then I just got to change up the coordinates, which is going to be 0, 0, 0, 33. So we do 0, 0, 0, 33. And that also reminds me, I got to change up one more thing. And then 0, 66. So that's all good as well. And then for the title, that is at, so the size is 8819. So I can switch this up to 8819. And the position is, right here. Okay, 0, 100. So this is 0, 100. Cool. So those should be all correct now. But that does remind me, one more thing I need to do. This UV start isn't quite right, because after we do that, we need to say sprite.uv start times equals, and then we'll just scale it by 1.0 over the texture dot. Actually, we need to do, we'll do sprite.uvstart equals, and then sprite.uvstart.x over texture. Where is it? I think I called it Spritesheet texture. Oh, Spritesheet.texture. .texture.width, and then sprite.uvstart.y over Spritesheet.texture.height. Okay, and then we need to do the same thing here. So then we'll say sprite.uvsize equals that over that and that over that. That way we're normalizing those values, which is what we need. So now that those values are normalized, we can go into our main menu, and instead of doing all this, we can actually just say remove all this for now. And then this will now be, let's go up and actually we'll just do all this right up here. Okay, right here. This will now be menu sprites button regular, I think is what I called it. Yep. What's this say now too? Oh, because this is a const ref. No, it's because I need to do std string here. Yep, cool. Nope. It's still showing a little square. Okay, there. So now this is const ref error, maybe? No? It doesn't like this for some reason. So this is a map from a string to a sprite. So yeah, I believe that's fine. And this is a sprite. Okay. Yep. I don't know. I'm going to have to check that out in just a minute too. I've never done it before. Do you use 3D Perla noise? Yes. So when I was looking at the terrain generation stuff, it does look like you use 3D Perla noise, and basically it's like a height value is all you add to it, which I think we have anyways with our terrain generation. Like if we look at chunk.cpp or maybe chunkmanager.cpp. No, I think it's in here. Yeah, so basically we have this. So we're using our generator, which is like our noise generator. But I think you can actually do generator.fractal. So you've got octaves X, X, Y, Z, and X and Y. And so basically we're just going to switch to X, Y, Z. And I think that should generate caves. We can actually try that in a minute too, just to see what happens, because I am curious. But yeah, SE Woods, I'm not familiar with IntelliJ, but I've seen that when you update ImGUI, you just change some lines and dependencies. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think that with Eclipse, you need to download a new update, at least as far as I'm aware. When you update ImGUI, you just change some lines and dependencies. In Eclipse, you need to download some new update. I'm not actually that familiar with Eclipse because I've only used it like once or twice and then kind of gave up on it just because it wasn't very fun. So you may actually need to install an update, but I'm not completely sure. The way I set it up in IntelliJ, you would need to install like the new update for ImGUI just because I was like using the actual jar, which means you'd have to download the new jar and then replace it and stuff. But yeah, but if you're using like Gradle, even if you're in Eclipse, if you're still using Gradle, you should just update the line that's like the version. And I think that should pull the newest. So yeah. And Kirotin, I might have said your name wrong. I'm sorry. Am I going to use hydraulic erosion to stand out from the pack? That would be very interesting. So I'm guessing hydraulic erosion is just basically like modeling the terrain as if it was eroded over time. I've never done anything like that, but it might be interesting to explore one day. Right now, what we're doing though is, and thank you Cosmic N85. What I'm doing right now though is just trying to make a Minecraft clone. So we're just trying to like get to some sort of Minecraft level. And then once we get to that point, I'll start modifying it to be like my own game and stuff. But yeah. And you may be, are there specific books that you did read based on all your knowledge about 3D games? There's a few, I think. So the one I'm reading right now, which is super good, like this is probably the best book I've ever had, is OpenGL Super Bible 7th edition. And you can probably find the PDF online if you want to, but it's this book and it's amazing. Like if you are learning OpenGL, which is like a 3D graphics rendering library, This book is like really, really good. And it's filling a lot of gaps in my knowledge that I didn't realize I had. So highly recommend this one if you want to learn. But yeah. And Kurotin, almost everyone pronounces my nick wrong, so it's okay. Yeah, sorry about that. No, it's good. If that's your nickname, you should leave it. Yeah, it's hard for me. There's a lot of different ways to pronounce things, especially if you're from like a different country and stuff. I know I have some friends from like China and Korea, and so I always get their names so horribly wrong just because I have no idea how to pronounce that stuff. So I also had some friends from India when I was working in Seattle. One of them, his name was Animesh, and every time we would go up to like food stands or whatever, he would tell the food stand people, he'd be like, oh, my name's Andrew. And I was like, why are you using Andrew? He's like, because nobody can pronounce my name. I was like, oh, okay. So it's interesting. Okay, anyways, though, let's go back to this. For some reason, it doesn't like this. Do I just have to say like dot? Nope. I'm not quite sure why it doesn't like this too. No operator bracket matches these operands. So this is a map of string to sprite. And we're passing in a string. Yeah, this is weird. Nope, nope. Can't find it. Yeah, I have no idea why it's here. Let's compile it and see if it gives us a better error message real quick. Yeah, welcome to Visual Studio C++ compile errors, which are horrible when it comes to templated stuff. So, yeah, okay, so binary. No operator found which takes the left-hand type of const stood unordered map, or there's no acceptable conversion. So we can't index into a stood. Is it just because this isn't const? Like if I said const sprite ref spr equals menu sprites button regular, does that work? No, it doesn't like that either. What if I do stood string here? Does that work? No, it still doesn't like that too. Huh, this is weird. Languors, I think it's because you're trying to get a non-const reference value from a const reference map. Yeah, and usually I think that wouldn't matter because like I'm trying to copy the value here, so I would assume that would work, but this should show that it's not that, I think. So maybe VS is just drunk. True. Probably what it is. I'll do the rest of these like that for now too, real quickly, and then we'll see if it gives us better error messages. Because sometimes like C++ has weird edge cases, and so you can make the smallest mistake and then it's just like it doesn't work for whatever reason. Okay, so this is button hover and this is button click, and I see some more stuff. Anyone know any physical books over digital books? Oh, prefer physical books. I do. So, and you're new to Twitch. Welcome. How's it going? It's easier to carry a phone than 10 physical books. That's true too. But physical books are nice just to hold. Sometimes it gets annoying too when you have a really big book because you're just holding it up and it's like 10 pounds and it's annoying to hold that up for a while. No operator. Okay, what if I did menu sprites dot find button regular dot second? Or do I have to do second? Does that work? No, it still doesn't like it. What does this say? Call of an object of a class without appropriate operator or conversion functions to pointer to function type. This is weird. Okay. So this gets us the sprite sheet as a const reference. What if we said this wasn't a const reference? Does it all go away then? So if I just do this, no, it's still doing the same thing. This is, okay, let's do stood string here. I think that might be what it's complaining about. Nope, still bad. Yep, still bad. Yeah, this is really weird. I've never run into this. It did go away with the brackets. Well, yeah, I went away with the brackets because Visual Studio, like if you have an error up here, then it just sort of like stops showing these errors sometimes. But This is strange. What if we do at? And then we pass in the value. And we say something. Okay, so it's fine with at. And then we say, okay. So it looks like at works. Let's try at and see if that works. We'll do that. I have no idea why it doesn't like the bracket operator though. Hopefully somebody with more C++ knowledge will tell me what was going on there at some point, but that's okay. And now it's compiling. That's weird, but it didn't get things correctly. Let's see what happened. So it's saying the texture is not a valid texture name. So it looks like we just didn't set the texture appropriately. Let's go into our load method and see what's happening here. So if we put a breakpoint there and fix that, jump into here. Okay, so we get into here, we hit load, we do that. This is all good. Okay, so we go through there, that's fine. Okay, what is our texture at this point now? Okay, so it looks like it loaded it properly. We have a texture 512 by 512, which is its size. It has a graphics ID, which is 2, so it loaded it into OpenGL fine. So that's all good. Let's go back through to here. Do that. Okay, so then if we go through there, what do we get here? So for Sprite, we got a texture. Texture looks correct still. Yeah, so that all looks good. And then we also got an appropriate UV start and end. So that looks fine. What if we go down to here, which is where I'm guessing it's probably bombing. So if we go into here, and then we do all this stuff. Okay, so it's probably, yeah, at this point. So we say that sprite equals that. Okay, we get a texture. Okay, yeah, and then the texture is bad at this point. Is the button sprite? Okay, let's see this. So if we check out the regular sprite. Okay, so the sprite is just bad at this point for some reason. Let's go back here. Okay, so that's fine. Okay, so we got button.text, button.position, size. Oh, I never set the sprite here. At least I don't think I do. Yeah, okay, I'm never setting the sprites here. So I probably need different buttons. Yeah, okay. That makes a lot of sense. So I'll have a textured button. This is going to be the play game button. And then we'll have a static textured button, exit button. And I'm going to fix this in the future too, because I don't like how this works very well. So this is the play game button. We'll fix all that up. And then I'll copy all that. And we'll have the exit button. Actually, no, that shouldn't matter. If we just have, because they're both the same button. Like, it's the same texture. So that should be fine. Okay. Yeah, so that should be fine because I'm setting all the sprites up here. That's weird. Okay, we're going to have to do a little bit more deep digging in just a second. Langurs, I'm just checking because the chat has filled up a little bit. I think it's because the bracket allows you to assign a value, but the map was const. It should have a const version of the brackets. So yeah, that's what, okay, you just confirmed it. The brackets operator doesn't have a const version. Because the map is const, you can't use it. Huh, that is interesting. And Flare YouTube, how's it going? Playing GTA 5, that's awesome. I hope you're doing all right. And CGO Clan, PDF. Oh, okay, you got the poll numbers. Okay, thanks CGO Clan. Okay, so we're having some trouble here still though. Because it looks like we're assigning the sprites here, and it looks like that's all fine. But then it bombs out once we get to that bottom part. So yeah, we have a texture that's clearly assigned here. And if we jump over that, the hover sprite is fine as well. And if we jump over that, click sprite is fine as well. Okay, so we're all good there. But then by the time we get down to here, it's broken is what it looks like. So if we look into here, yeah, it looks like we've lost our reference somehow. Is it because... Yeah, I think I might know what's going on here. So if we look into here, we have all this stuff. So when we load it, we set up the sprite sheet. I think what's happening is because I'm using the texture as a pointer and not as an object like a copy, it's breaking. So yeah, so right here we say the spritesheet.texture. Wait, no, spritesheet.texture is... Yeah, it's just a texture. Wait a second. Okay, so we are copying that by value right here. Okay, so that should be fine. This returns a texture. Oh, is it because if I look in the button, I think the button is a... Yeah, okay, this is a texture pointer. That should probably just be a texture. Let's do this and then see if that fixes it really quickly. So we'll do render/texture. I believe that should be fine now. So then if we go back into here, or not here, whoops. Back into here. And here, that's all good. Okay, I think we should be good now. I think it was just like a copy. Since we're copying the pointer, it was getting moved around by the dictionary in memory. And so then we had the bad pointer address. Okay, so then we just have to fix this. That's fine. Fix this. This takes a pointer. Okay, so I guess I can switch that. And that, and that, and that. Okay. Let's see if we're good now. Almost. It looks like we got a couple more errors. Okay, right here. So now this is taking a copy, so we can just remove all that. That's fine. And we'll just remove that as well. Okay. I need to have like some sort of asset manager so that I can get around all this stuff, because right now I'm copying all this stuff by value. But if we have an asset manager, we can kind of... Okay, yeah, and now we're all good. Cool. So that was just because we were passing it by pointer. I'll probably come up with some sort of like asset manager where we talk to assets through like asset IDs, and then we can sort of just use that ID, which finds the correct asset whenever it's needed, which is probably going to be the best way to do that. Okay, and then if we press start, we are good. Cool. I'm going to remove that button and stuff because we don't need that. So let's go into world.cpp real quickly. Remove those tests because we don't need this stuff. So take that stuff out of there. And then I want to experiment because we talked about caves a little bit. I just want to see what happens if we switch to using like 3D rendering. So first of all, let's go into here and delete all of the saved files, which are in here. So I'll just delete all that stuff. And then if we go into our chunk generation, we should be able to just see what happens when we switch to using 3D noise instead of 2D noise. So instead of doing this, okay, yeah, so right here, we will do y plus world chunk y, or I guess we can just do y plus seed over increment size. And then I'll add that down here as well. Okay. And this turns that into like a height value. Okay, let's just see what happens. I have no idea what's going to happen now, so we shall see. But we're using 3D noise now instead of 2D noise, and it looks like it's done some different stuff. It looks like it's just flattened everything. I might have to change the way I'm using it because I might not be using it appropriately. I'm not quite sure if this would have generated caves and stuff though, because I'm kind of using it like a height map, which I guess now technically it's not a height map. but pretty interesting still. I don't know. It didn't really do too much. And I have to fix this bug too, because like when you run in certain directions, it just completely breaks. It's like when you're rotating between these two directions, it like goes super slow for some reason. I'm not sure what's going on there. But yeah. So I guess that's what happens when we use 3D noise. So I have to change up the way I'm using it a little bit more here, I guess, since I'm treating it just like a height there. Langors, the way I would approach it would be to generate the terrain heights using 2D Perlin noise, and 3D Perlin noise would determine if the block would be empty or not. Okay, that makes sense too, yeah. So let's try that. Let's just experiment. So let's change that back to that. And then we can say is empty equals, and then we'll just do this thing. And we'll do y plus seed over increment size. And then we'll say this is greater than 0.5. I think this returns a number between 0 and 1. Yeah, so it returns a float, and I'm multiplying by 255. I'm pretty sure that returns between 0 and 1. So, like a 50% chance, we'll do 7.5. And then, let's see, and then right here, we'll just say if not is empty. And we'll see what happens now. This is the more interesting stuff, right? Is actually using the terrain generation and everything. So I guess we'll see what happens. Oh, I have to delete the old world files too. This is why I need some GUI stuff so that we can actually save and load different worlds and seeds and stuff. But okay. Do you guys just open PDF in browser? I do, because that's usually the easiest way. But I never tried it before, so I don't know if that's the way. And you tend to use a mix of SimpleX noise and Perlin noise. Okay, cool. I think this is using SimpleX noise under the hood. It's not actually using Perlin noise. I have some articles I want to read about the topic just so that I can learn a little bit about how Perlin noise works better. Okay, so this looks very similar to what I had. Maybe I have that threshold too high. Let's see what's going on over here. I'm hoping we're just going to get like caves showing up and stuff, but it doesn't look like we are. Let me lower that threshold value and we'll see what we get after that, because we still don't have anything, and that's weird. Yeah, if I look at this, we start to get lines, and I believe that's Voronoi noise, so we'll have to fix that as well. Okay, let me delete this again though. And let's change this to 0.5 and see what happens now. And when playing the game, my cursor does not disappear. I don't know why. Oh, you have to press F2. Sorry. There's like different key shortcuts and everything. So if you're doing this, you have to press F2, and then that sort of locks it, and then F2 unlocks it. Yeah. And so we could finally use the real SimpleX noise. Yes. I remember creating height maps in Blender and used to generate terrain. I was reading up on using tessellation shaders too to create terrain from height maps and stuff, which was interesting. So if you guys have never heard of tessellation shaders, you should check it out because they are very cool. Okay, we're still not getting anything interesting. Let's lower that threshold a little bit more. See what happens. Maybe I'm using it wrong too. So we have 7 octaves, XYZ. Maybe I don't need to be doing this increment size. I'm not sure. Or maybe it's because of that Y plus seed. Let's do that. Well, no. Yeah, that makes sense because we want to use the seed. And we say if is not empty. Here, I'll lower this to like 0.15. So, or maybe this goes from -1 to 1. No? Okay, I don't know. We'll see what happens now. Let's delete that and try again. And you used a mesh and then sampled height values from a texture in the vertex shader. Okay, cool. That is also another good way to do things. I'm trying to think. The reason I'm not doing like from a texture and stuff here is because the block types themselves are like things that I'm sending to the vertex shader, and then like the normals and everything too. So, but using a texture might actually be a better way. I'll have to think about that. Air friction is like a million. I guess so. Oh yeah, it just stops you immediately. That's because the speed just literally changes your velocity instantly. So yeah, I guess it is a million. Instantaneous. Okay, I'm still not seeing anything. I need to add like another player controller in here that can actually go through the blocks so that I can see what's going on underneath, because that would probably be helpful at this point. But I will have to explore more with terrain generation stuff in the future. Whoops. Okay. And then that just completely bombed out. Don't know what. Oh, actually, I do know what happened. So I probably had like a divide by 0 somewhere in there, and then it teleported me to these coordinates, which are bad. So yeah, very buggy. I still need to fix some things. And yeah, like a spectator mode thing is what I need. But I do still need to fix a lot of different stuff. So I'll experiment a little bit more with terrain generation afterwards. But for now, I think I'm probably going to end off this stream pretty soon, just because I feel like we've gotten to a pretty good place. Basically, what we've switched up is I actually have sprite sheets now, so I don't have to do any of this, which is nice. And then I can also do this too. So we can just, instead of having, okay, yeah, so we have a title sprite. So okay, yeah, so right here I can just do title equals, and then we'll do menu sprites dot at stood string title. And I think that should be like the last thing in there. One of the other things I'm going to do too is like have all this stuff loaded from YAML file, like the position of all the stuff, so that we can sort of load that on demand. But that looks like it's working too. Cool. So yeah. If you guys download this and stuff too, it's still not 100% stable, as you just saw, so just be careful. But yeah, it's not going to like kill your computer or anything, but it just might crash. So one of the nice things in Rust is that it has built-in checked operations to panic on over or underflows while testing. Yeah, I was reading you can sort of emulate stuff like that in C++. There's a guy online who I've showed before. What's his thing called? I think this is, it's, okay, yeah, R Machinery. So he has a lot of cool tricks he's actually using C. So yeah, he's a little bit more low level than I want to be, but let's see. Because I remember he had something in here. There we go, blog. Okay. So yeah, he basically has something in here when he's talking about virtual memory, which is, yeah, right here, virtual memory tricks. So in this article, he talks about memory overwrite detection. Yeah. Basically, what you do is you line up all of your pages. Well, you line up all of your memory so that as it's allocated, it's like on the edge of a page size, so that when you commit that memory, if you overwrite that memory, the operating system automatically bombs out because you've gone into a page that you haven't committed yet. So yeah, he kind of explains that here and stuff. It's interesting. It would be nice if C++ had that automatically, but usually it's not that big of an issue when I have to figure out where it's going wrong, because I use asserts like crazy. So if I ever have something like where I'm writing to some data like this, I usually write asserts. Sometimes I don't. But yeah, like right here. So I'm asserting that we have the proper number of vertices, and then I usually do stuff like that. So, but yeah, I'll have to experiment with Rust at some point. Thank you guys for watching though, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will be streaming again next week, Saturday. Hopefully at that point I'll have like the chunks refactored so that it's a little bit more performant, so that we can actually start adding and breaking blocks, which is what I really want to get to. But yeah, and thank you, Kiroitin, for following. And am I happy with today's stream? I am, yeah. We got quite a bit done. We got sprite sheets, so that is a good step forward. It always takes me a little bit longer to do stuff on stream, but it is good to do the streams and stuff, just so I can sort of talk through what I'm doing. And you guys help out a lot too whenever there are certain things that I'm not quite sure on how to do. But yeah, I'll see you guys next week though, and thanks again for coming.